Hi, and welcome to another edition of Mike Finds Thing. This one's going to be all estate sales, and there's a killer record today, and it's probably going to be in the thumbnail. So I'm going to do all estate sales. Usually when I do estate sales, I do them in chronological order of when I went. This time I'm not doing that because this is one I actually found this morning at an estate sale like 15 minutes from my house. And then ordered sold guys are going to freak out when they see this one. So let's just go right to the elephant in the room. I'm not going to make you wait through a whole video to get to the really juicy morsel there that's been promised to you. There is some other really juicy morsels in this video, but I think this one's the juiciest. So let's go there. And also be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, because this is still fairly a new channel and we still need subscribers on the channel. And it's totally worth it. And I find all kinds of different cool vintage records. But let's go to it. We found, I still can't believe I found this. It's a Northern Soul Rarity. Turley Richards, I Feel Alright, on a promo label on Columbia. And the flip side is I Can't Get Back Home to My Baby. And you can see it's in a Columbia sleeve. And I'm going to break it out. I'm going to be really careful. I actually did play it earlier and it plays just wonderfully. And you're probably like, there's probably Northern Soul people like freaking out right now, and then there's like other people who are like, oh, I don't know what that is. That's the point. So this song is from 1966. It goes on Discogs. This record, the sold prices go from $280 to $1,000, and there's one copy on Discogs for sale right now that the guy's asking $1,500 for. So definitely a Northern Soul Rarity. I'm probably going to be selling it because it's just way too expensive a record to be hanging on to that maybe might not get played. I'd rather get it to somebody who's maybe going to play it, you know, that DJ's Northern Soul or something like that, and really appreciates that record, because it's just, that is just a spectacular. I think that's the most expensive 45 I've ever run across. So definitely a cool moment. The guy actually had, this estate sale actually had he had some promo 45s, but most of them were like just normal stuff, like not stuff that was really anything. That was the one that I found. I looked at it, I looked it up, it said it was soul, and so I grabbed it, and then I really didn't figure out how much it was really worth until later on. Let's go into another one that's pretty spectacular. Another promo. This is an MGM. This is the Revengers with. Please watch the rest of the video too. Don't just like watch that and then leave. Okay. The Revengers, the Batman theme. It's kind of like a rock and roll, almost a surf version of the Batman theme, and of course it's a disc jockey record. And again, really amazing condition. And this one's from 66. It sells between 20 and 40 on Discogs. So that's definitely a cool find as well. Another Columbia promo from the same era. This one's from 66. This one goes for between 8 and 56. It's the Young Ones, not the British TV show, but it's the Young Ones. Another promo. And it's Sour Grapes, and the B-side is Man of Mystery, and it's a killer surf tune. Obviously, I've said this before, I find a lot of like interesting surf records locally since this is Southern California, and I've got a Columbia sleeve with it. I may go back to the estate sale tomorrow because they're probably going to do half off. Tomorrow's actually, I filmed these in advance. Tomorrow's actually Christmas Eve, so I can't imagine a lot of people are going to go to that sale tomorrow. I'm going to go down there and see what's left and see if I missed anything. And then just, it's not really valuable, but I got a picture sleeve, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, Dreaming, 7-inch. But it's so minty. I like OMD, so I grabbed that. And the other thing I got at that particular sale, before we go into the next sale, and you'll see why I bought this one. I had the wrong record. I've been looking for this album for a while because I want to put it on my wall, and you can see why. It's got a Seaberg 222. That's a Seaberg 222. That's a Seaberg 222. And I've actually got another Seaberg 222. So I've actually been looking for this. Even though I had the wrong record, the sleeve's in good shape. I want to frame it and put it on the wall because I've been looking for that. All right, so first estate sale I went to of the week. The last estate sale was actually the last estate sale I went to of the week, but you can see why I mix things up. This one was actually over in Boyle Heights. It was advertised as they had a bunch of LP records for $1 each. So I went, and it was maybe like a half an hour drive from the house. And it was on a weekday, so I go over there. It said Hoarder House. It just had stuff everywhere. So I walk in the room with all the records, and half the records there's just like a bunch of 78s in boxes. So I'm like, great, I guess I'm going to be here going through these 78s for a few hours, which I was. I found about 30, I think it was about 30 good 78s. I've kind of got the highlights here, and I got 5 LPs. A lot of people are there going through the LPs. And in fact, one lady says, "There's no rock and roll here," and you'll see I actually did find some rock and roll there in LP. And I found some rock and roll on 78 as well. But let's go into the 78s I did get there. This was a 1948. It's a blues record. Didn't find a value. I've got other records by the same artist. Joe Liggins and his Honey Drippers, "Life Don't Mean a Thing to Me," with Saboni on the other side. So I couldn't find a value on this one. Usually you find the Honey Dripper, which I think there's one in there, and those go for a few bucks. That's cool early R&B. Here's one I found 2 of, and you'll know this song. It's Mr. Sandman by the Chordettes on Cadence. I've actually got 2 of these. One's better than the other. This one sells between $3 and $25. I mean, one of these is really super nice. The other one's like decent. So kind of neat to find that. Obviously, people with jukeboxes that play 45s, but the ones that play 78s, they want Mr. Sandman. So that's probably why the value. That's usually a lot of the reason for some of the values on some of the more common 78s. Speaking of common ones, but the one that everybody knows, Count Basie, "Jumping at the Woodside." So I did get that there. I also got Basie Blues. Count Basie on a red Columbia. Let's go through these. I'm going to try to go through these a little bit quicker since I think we have a lot to go through today. The Lonesome Road. This one's $14 is what they go for. Louis Armstrong and Orchestra from 1935. So it's a very early. I should probably just take the tag off. It's probably a very early Louis Armstrong with Song of the Islands on the other side. Early Armstrong on vocalion. Let's see, we go to 1945, One for My Heart, or One for My Baby, Lena Horne. It's a very famous song. This one's worth 10. It's actually, I believe this one was like in really amazing condition. So obviously something people would want for like a jukebox. That's really clean. So I think you guys know Lena Horne is jazz vocalist. Jump Blues, here's the Honey Dripper, Joe Liggins. This one goes from like 8 to 10 on exclusive. I find this one a lot locally. I think this one was pretty exceptional. And I feel like Jump Blues, that's one, I don't know if you find these out where you're at, but some reason here in LA I find that one a lot. This was an R&B from 1953. It's 9 to 13, and it's Daughter, That's Your Red Wagon, and it's not in the greatest condition. Unfortunately, a lot of times you find R&Bs that are just played to death. But it's on the States label, which is, you don't see that label very often. So that was kind of a neat find. Let's see, we're going into this. There's a lot of LPs. I think we got some more 45s later on too. We got some rockabilly. There's an Elvis in here somewhere in 78, so we'll get to that. This one is 12th Street Boogie. This is on an 8000 series Mercury, so that was their race record series. I always like to find these 8000 series Mercuries. And this one's by Albert Ammons. And I actually got another copy of this that's coming up because the next day I went to next day or 2 days later I went to another estate sale. Found another copy of that. I couldn't find a value on that one though. We got Born to Lose, Ted Daffin's Texans. And this is, I couldn't find a value on it, but it's the first recording of the song Born to Lose, which of course was later on done by like Ray Charles and a lot of other people. But it's sort of historically significant because it's the first time that song was done, and the record is for 78. I can't see if I catch the light. The record, I'd say it's in really amazing condition for 78. Doesn't look like it was hardly played and always kept in the sleeve. Joe Liggins from 1947, The Blues with Blow Mr. Jackson. So that one I just have a year. I don't have a value. I say I find these Joe Liggins locally. It shouldn't be in an RCA sleeve. That should go in something else. But that's kind of a neat find. Most of these were in sleeves, but they were in the wrong sleeves. This one's a jazz record from 1934, and I don't think you're going to be able to see it. And it's Ethel Waters. You've seen Harlem at its best with Come On Up and See Me Sometime. So sort of like the Mae West song. That's not going to show. That was just kind of a neat one from the 30s I found. Unfortunately, that label's probably not going to show up on camera. Here's one. You'll probably know the song, especially if you know 60s rock and roll. It's Archibald and his orchestra with Stack-a-Lee, which is basically, it's Staggerly. If you know the Lloyd Price song Staggerly, you know this song. And on Imperial, I can't remember what the value is. I think I had a value sticker, but it went away. And it's not in the greatest shape, but it does play. So, fortunately, I would really like to find stuff like that in minty condition. And speaking of one I'd like to find in minty condition, and this one isn't the greatest, probably one of my favorite. This one sells for between $3 and $65, and this one is nowhere near. This one's probably closer to $3. It does play, but it has a lot of background noise. It's Speedo by the Cadillacs. So I think we found it. We had a couple other Cadillac 78s in last week's video, and let me explain is the B-side. Of course, Speedo is probably one of the most famous doo-wop songs of all time. It's not terrible. It does play all the way through. It doesn't skip. But you can see why I grabbed it. I cleaned it a little bit, and it came out better after I cleaned it. So maybe after a few more cleanings, it'll get even better. Unfortunately, it was not a taken care of record. This one's a neat one. I couldn't find a value, but it's a 1948 doo-wop record. I mean, you wouldn't think you couldn't find a doo-wop record from 48, and it's in nice condition. The Ravens with Send For Me If You Need Me on a national label with Until the Real Thing Comes Along. And I guess these guys were like pioneers of doo-wop in the 40s there. And so that's a cool find. Not something, I believe I saw a couple people asking like $5 or $6 for those. So not like a valuable one, but a great one for the collection. This one sells for $25. Another Joe Liggins. See, the Joe Liggins, some of them have value, some do not. And it's from 1948 blues record Spooks Holiday with the Darktown Strutters Ball. And that one is sold for $25 on Discogs. It's in good condition. I believe I played that one the other night. It sounded just fine. Here we go. We got on exclusive. We got the Basin Street Boys, Vootnay on the Vootnay with I Sold My Heart to the Junk Man. So this one sells for $8. It's the R&B from 1948. Unfortunately, Discogs isn't always the most reliable on 78 prices either, especially the more obscure stuff. But it did sell for that on there. So I don't know. That's the stuff I like on 78, and the jump blues and the stuff like that. But here's another 8000 series. Somebody was asking $25 for this, but I couldn't find any sold prices. From 1947, Salty Papa Blues, Dinah Washington on another 8000 series. This one's Cadillac 8044, and I Know How to Do It on the B side. This one plays fine. You can see the record there. So that's definitely a cool find on our Dinah Washington. We got a country record. This one is Hank Penny, One Heart, One Love, One Life. This one sells for $8. Sold for $8 from 1949 on King Records. The Kings you got to watch because they put out a lot of great R&B stuff, but they also did a lot of country stuff as well. And Red Hot Mama. You can see I probably grabbed this thinking it was a R&B record because of the title, Red Hot Mama, and it's on King. But usually I think the R&B stuff's on the blue label ones, but I've seen country stuff on the blue label ones too. This one sells between $15 and $40, and you've definitely heard of this guy. From 1956, this is the King of Rock and Roll, Elvis Presley. I want you, I need you, I love you. You know the song. And My Baby Left Me as the B-side on that one. Definitely a cool. This guy had, I went through all these boxes. I think I got to the second last box and found this one. It plays fine. It's not in perfect condition, but it plays absolutely fine. You can see that. And I have never owned an Elvis on 78 before I found this one. So obviously an amazing find for me. So this stuff is out there. You just got to look really hard. There's a blues. You know, I like to find the blues on 78. This is not the last blues on 78 we got in this video, but we've got Josh Hart, Evil Hearted Man on Keynote. It's a little scratchy, but it does play just fine. And the B-side is House of the Rising Sun. You know that song. I don't have to tell you what that song is. So kind of neat to find. And this one sells between 12 and 20 on Discogs. That's sold prices on Discogs. Now we're gonna go. I did find a couple LPs there. By then I was like, okay, I was there for like 2 or 3 hours going through all the 78s just to find what I found. There was a lot of Bing Crosby and stuff like that too. This one's from 1962. It sells between 3 and 22. It's Dick and Dee Dee, Tell Me and the Mountains High LP, but it's very crisp. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that sleeve. It's not like ripped. Oh, it's like it's just nice. It's nice. And even the record's nice on this one. So you can see why I grabbed that one for $1. The other one I got, of course, the lady said there was no rock and roll. I call this rock and roll. From 1960, it only sells between $1 and $12, but it's such like why you see the sleeve. $1 million worth of twang, Dwayne Eddy. So I don't have to tell you who Dwayne Eddy is. So a little bit of rockabilly. We got more rockabilly coming up too. We got rare rockabilly, and I'm probably gonna do a thrift store video pretty soon. And there's definitely a rare rockabilly record that has a label that says Sun on it. And it's not from one of the usual artists you see on Sun either. It's from one of the more obscure artists on Sun. And that'll be in a thrift store video coming up because I found that one at a thrift store. And I got the All Ears. This one's not really expensive, but from 1977, it's all CB radio novelty songs, which I thought was kind of cool. I just grabbed it because it's put out by Realistic. So these were sold at like Radio Shack. Where's the Realistic? There's got Realistic. So this was sold at Radio Shack. It's even got like their line of like Realistic Radio Shack CBs, which I actually found one new in the box at another estate sale like a couple weeks ago as well, where I didn't find any records. All right, so next estate sale I went to, unfortunately I get there and they were running it themselves, and they decided to tell me when I got there, like, because it was advertised they had records. They said, oh, somebody came out and bought like $300 worth of records already. I'm like, great, so someone's been through everything already. I got there at opening, and that didn't really make me happy. But I think he just went through the LPs, because the one thing I know, I've gone to estate sales where obviously people have gone through stuff, and I've still found stuff. So I'll show you what I did find. First one I found, I mean, it's not in the world's greatest shape, but it will play fine. It's great for jukeboxes. The Beatles with We Can Work It Out and Day Tripper. It's got like surface scratches, but it'll play just fine. So that was worth picking up. That one sells between $1 and $13. That one's probably towards the lower end of that, but for $1, grab it. This one I couldn't find an actual sold price. It has 2 different people on Discogs trying to get $40 for it. From 1963, it's a local label from Los Angeles, Marsh Records, Storybook Love, Bobby Lyle, and it's a rock and roll record. It's in decent shape. I'm guessing it was a promo because of the arrows on it. So it's probably like a DJ promo. But I grabbed that one for $1 because it's not something I'm likely to ever come across again. And it is in nice condition. A lot of that stuff that's obscure didn't get played as much because people didn't know what it was. I think I've mentioned that in other videos. Here's a doo-wopper from 63. I've seen it sold for $7. Look Over Here Girl, Bobby Grayson and His Orbits. And this one, the label's out of Jamaica, New York. And I'll Follow You. So some doo-wop on a minor label out of New York. Bobby Grayson and His Orbits. This one, This one was worth like $1, which I grabbed because the label looked kind of interesting. It's Jerry Naylor with You're 13, which is kind of like a pedophile song. I listened to it, and it's creepy. It's like that Will Ferrell sketch from SNL where he's like an old rock and roll guy and he keeps singing songs about younger and younger girls. That's kind of what that is. It was probably based on that song. And Stop Your Crying's the other side, just to make the record even creepier. Not sure what I would do with that. I don't want to play it, but it's rock and roll history, unfortunately. Not something I really care for. Here's a neat one. It's a soul record, and it's a girl group. This one sells between 15 and 33. It's from 1963. It's on Titanic Records. So not sure why that record label didn't stay afloat. Okay, that's a bit of a dad joke. But Goody Wilson, I Stood Beneath the Window. Soul girl group with the doorbell rings on the other side. And I've seen it listed as a promo. I mean, I realize it's a white label, but I've seen the white label listed as a promo and not a promo. It does not say promo on it. But then the white label that was on Discogs as a promo didn't say promo on it either. So it may be a promo. It may not be a promo. I don't know. There were other promos there. Here's a country record out of Bakersfield. On Lynn Records, Georgia Lynn and Slippin'. I really couldn't find much on this, other than that label did actually put out some other records. So that was kind of neat. And Looking Through Your Window is the other side. On Lynn Records. Let's see here. I'll put that with that. And this one is a 67 soul record, and it's the original version of She's Looking Good by Roger Collins. It sells between $1 and $18, so it's worth grabbing. It's on Galaxy Records. Not in the most fantastic condition, but it plays fine. And then the B-side is I'm Serving Time. But that is the original version of She's Looking Good, which was later, of course, later on done by Wilson Pickett. So we got that. And here's one. Somebody's asking $16 for this on eBay, and that's the only other copy I could find online. On Fedora Records, which is a subsidiary of Papa Records out of Covina, so a local record. I Confess this is a rock and roll record by Don Ross. So it's probably rare because, like I said, only I could find one other copy, and the guy is trying to get $16 for it on eBay currently. So on Fedora Records, but a rock and roller. I couldn't even find a year on that one, so that should tell you something. And this is another weird one. This is a big band record that looked like a country record to me. I found a 78 copy on Discogs without any price. There's no pricing. It's just somebody put that they had it on 78. Georgia by Norm Hodge and Orchestra on J.R. Ranch out of Seattle is the label. And I just assumed J.R. Ranch and Too Old to Cut the Mustard. So just judging by that record label, I just assumed it was going to be a country record. But obviously it was when I played it, it was a big band record. At the same sale, these were the 12-inch records I bought that the other guy probably didn't want, or for some reason, or didn't find. A 1986 promo, $5 to $10. It's Europe. It's the final countdown. Okay, you know that song. And the B-side is Rock the Night. So I grabbed that because it's Europe. Obviously, people still love that song. They still play it on the radio. And it still gets the party started. Here's one from 1990. This one sells between $8 and $40. It's Gene Lowe's Jezebel with Kiss of Life. It's sort of like a gothy record. So I grabbed that one. And the last one I got that the guy, I guess, didn't know what it was probably. Vanilla Fudge and The Beat Goes On. And this one sells between $1 and $20. So for you psych rock fans. And we're going to have another estate sale. We got more estate sales worth of records. I just do them by what the estate sales I went to were. So kind of cool. Beat Goes On. I think he does they do covers of different songs like Hound Dog and the Beatles and I Want to Hold Your Hand, Day Tripper, but it's all psychedelic, vanilla fudgy. So All right, so this is a sale that was not far from here, maybe like 10 minutes from my house. Unfortunately, they wanted $3 a record there, and a bunch of other people showed up to look at records at the same time, right when they opened, which is the case a lot of times. This was all LPs. That's all I got at this sale. I got, it's a 1979. This was originally released in 1976. ZZ Top Tejas. This is the, like I said, this is the one from 1979, so it's not the original pressing. It folds out. It's got all the members of ZZ Top, but obviously a very well-known album. Here's one by Santana. This is from 71. This one sells between 2 and 20. Oh, sorry, the ZZ Top sells between 9 and 25 for that pressing. This one goes between 2 and 20. It's got some ring wear. I can't remember what the name of this album was. I think it's just their self-titled Santana. There you go, with the gatefold. Obviously, Santana is a very collectible artist. So, of course, another very collectible artist and surf. It's 1974. It's the Beach Boys' Endless Summer double LP. So it goes for between $1 and $30. I'm guessing $1 is for one that's missing one of the records. This one is not. It's got both records. It gatefolds. It's got both records. They're both in good condition, and it's the Beach Boys. So obviously a cool find. I had that on CD. I used to listen to. I think I've got that album on cassette too. This one goes for $1 to $10. It's Jay and the Americans with Sunday and Me, and it's in really nice condition as well. I think a lot of people passed up on this because they didn't know who Jay and the Americans were. You know, these younger guys go in there, they don't know who some of these are. This one I took a chance on. This was from 1963. It goes for between 5 and 11, and it's the stereo version, which I think they only did one stereo press of it. John Severson, who was like a famous surfer, presents Sunset Surf, and arranged and conducted by Jimmy Haskell. So it's a surf record, as you can see. And so anything surf, I'll grab it. It's actually $3, and it's in very nice condition. Not one of the super well-known surf albums. And we found a New Colony 6. I think this is more of their folky stuff. So it's between 30 and 20. Discogs listed as pop, so it's not one of the garagey ones. Or from 68, New Colony 6 Revelations album. But still, like I said, it has a spread of 3 to 20. So, and like I said, usually on those 60s ones, I usually don't grab unless the wax is good. This one's $1 to $12, 1971. Sunday After Church. Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Janice C. Riley. It's a folk record, but you know who these artists are. So grab that because of the condition, because who's on it more than anything. But you know, it was their folky stuff. This one goes from $1 to 24 from 1966. It's the jazz record, Art and Soul, Arthur Prysock on Verve. That one's a really sharp looking one as well. Okay. And I love the Who, so even though I have this, I've got the original pressing of it. I didn't really need to go get this one, but this one goes between 4 and 15. This is the 1979 MCA pressing, the Who live at Leeds. Of course, the earlier pressings are on Decca, but it is the Who live at Leeds. So I don't know how many times. I think I've seen the Who about 4 or 5 times live. And we got for the rockabilly country people, we got this one's Ocean 2 and 10 from 1971. The World of Johnny Horton 2 LP set of all the Johnny Horton stuff. So not one I come across, so I grabbed it. And last but not least, from that sale, we're going to another sale after that. We got, this is the A&M Records version. I think the earlier one was on Island. This one's the 1970. It's between $1 and 55. So 55, the thing must be like really nice or sealed. Free, Fire and Water. This is the one with All Right Now. That's the song everybody knows. And okay, so this sale was literally like 4 blocks from my house, and it was record only estate sale, only records, and they said LPs. When I got there, I got there half an hour before it was supposed to start, and it was already open, and people were already going through stuff. And I found a few LPs, which I'll do at the end, but then I noticed there was a table of 78s. Nobody was going through the 78s, so I said, I will go do the 78s. And then the guy wound up bringing back out more boxes of 78s for me to go through because I was the only one going through them. But you'll see I've got some good stuff. I got some real heartbreaker stuff that wasn't in the greatest condition that I wish was. But we're going to go through the 78s first, then we'll get into the LPs there. And then I think I've got like a few more records after that from a couple of estate sales yesterday. And that'll be a lot of estate sales this week. So a lot of good stuff. But you'll see we're going to start with a killer one. This is from 1954. It sells between 12 and 32 on RPM Records. This one is Every Day I Have the Blues by B.B. King. B.B. It says he's credited as B.B. Blues Boy King and his orchestra. And it's got an address label on it. And it's nice, and it plays well. And one other guy started going through the 78s, and he found this one, and then he's like, you know what, I don't have anything that plays 78s, so if you want it. So I'm like, yeah, I want it. So I got that, fortunately, because the other guy decided, oh, I don't really even have anything that plays 78s. Killer find, though. Killer find. You know, I like finding the blues. Here's one I found. It's sort of like got a local flavor. It doesn't sell for a whole lot. It's from 1923 on Brunswick. Running Wild, Marion Harris with You've Got to See Mama Every Night. And she was a white lady that did jazz vocals. And in fact, a lot of people, I guess I read that a lot of people thought she wasn't white. But it's actually got an overlay on both sides commemorating her appearance at the Club Royale right near here in Los Angeles, and both sides are actually autographed by her with this overlay, and it's advertises Fitzgerald Music Company, which I guess was the big Brunswick dealership. They sold the Brunswick gramophones and records in Los Angeles and downtown LA on Hill Street. So that was kind of a neat find. Local history. I always like local history, even if it's not anything that's particularly valuable. Lots of jazz. I on the 78 ones, I generally just do the highlights. This one's on Signature 1946 jazz record. I couldn't find a value on it, but it's so clean. The Willies by Shorty Sherrock and his orchestra with Snafu on the other side. And not much on that one, but I always like to find jazz, blues stuff, anything that's in good condition, which that's in spectacular condition, so I'm assuming it wasn't much of a hit. Here's that 12th Street Boogie. It's just another copy, the one I found earlier from the other estate sale. And I think this one's in probably about the same condition. But I just wanted to show I found another copy, which was weird to find. I kind of realized after I bought it, like, wait, I already had that. There's an R&B from 1952 on Aladdin. Aladdin put out a lot of good R&B and jazz and stuff. Sentimental Journey, Lynn Hope. In fact, there's a bunch of Aladdins. The video before this is the 78 doo-wop R&B, early rock and roll. I think one rockabilly record video that they'll post the week before this one. There's a lot of Aladdin stuff in there. Here's one, you'll know the artist. Unfortunately, the condition isn't that good. And we did find some Ray Charles in that other lot, the 78 lot. So it's Jumping in the Morning, Ray Charles, and it's scratched up, but it does play. And The Sun's Gonna Shine Again. This one's from 1953. And unfortunately, it was not very well taken care of. But it exists. I grabbed it because it's Ray Charles on 78. And, you know, I mean, you gotta keep this stuff. There's one that goes for between 5 and 7. It's pretty common to find the Platters on 78. This is one of their bigger hits, the Great Pretender. And even though it's a rock and roller, I'm sure people would love to have this in their jukebox. For some reason, they made a lot of Platter 78s. I run across them. I've got a wonderful My Prayer, like in really nice condition. It sounds great. Here's one by the Dominoes, Chicken Blues. This was from 1950. I couldn't find a value on it. It's on Federal. Federal did a lot of R&B and doo-wop and stuff like that. And the Dominoes, I think their biggest hit was 60 Minute Man, which was a big doo-wop hit. So that was kind of neat. I wish it was in better, again, I wish it was in better condition. It does play, but it does have surface noise on it. This one sells for $19. This is Jimmy Forrest from 1952. better condition than some of these other ones. Night Train, and it's on United. They put their put their address label on it, and the B side is Bolo Blues. I got another version of Night Train coming up by somebody else that is more well known, but I found that's in much better condition than that one. Coming up in the video. I'll try to do these quickly. We got the Honey Dripper, and this one's Joe Liggins. We found this earlier, I think, on another lot. I found them on different colored labels, and this variation sells between 25 and 35, and it's in nice condition for a 78. Plays just fine. So I find that one quite a bit. It must have been like a local thing, or who knows. We're going right into country now with Bob Wills and his Texas Playboy from 1940. This one goes from between $1 and $13. New as San Antonio Rose, and this one's in amazing condition. There's still a lot of Western Swing fans out there, so Bob Wills, the king of Western Swing. There you go. On OK. The later ones were always on the red Columbias. On the Bob Wills, and then we even have a Bob Wills on MGM coming up in the stack, if I remember right. Another Joe Liggins, Jump Blues from 1945. This one's sells for 10. Got a Right to Cry, another exclusive. The exclusives put out a lot of good stuff, and Blue Moods on the other side. And then we're going to get into some country again, so we're going back and forth. From 1947, this one goes between 5 and 20. We got Hank Williams. There's actually two of these in there of the same record. Fly Trouble by Hank Williams on MGM, and on the banks of the old Pontchartrain, or however we pronounce that. I'm not going to try to pronounce it. We got a bunch of Hank Williams I found at this estate sale. I said, yeah, I could have walked there, but I wouldn't have wanted to walk back with a stack of 78s, that's for sure. This one is on Jazzman Records, but they covered up the label. It's Turk Murphy from 1947. It's Brother Lowdown. I gotta see if I can get these stickers off. And the other side is Yellow Dog Blues. Unfortunately, I don't know, those were all name stickers, but then the names were rubbed off. So I gotta see if I can be really careful and take that off, because this one sells for about $12. It's in good condition. And it's Jazzman's not exactly a label you see a whole lot of. 1950, I couldn't find a value on this one, but it's Bob Wills and his Texas Playboys with Faded Love on MGM. And Boot Heel Drag on the other side. So nothing wrong with some Bob Wills. Coming up, here's probably probably the best known of the Hank Williams. Both for basically a double A-sided one. This one goes between 3 and 25. 1953, Kalijah on the A side by Hank Williams. That's a very, very famous Hank Williams song. And of course, the B side, which I don't know how this was even a B side, Your Cheatin' Heart. So it's more of like a double A side there. Two very famous Hank Williams songs. Here's that other Night Train. This one sells for $9. Buddy Morrow and his orchestra. I mean, it looks like it's hardly been played, if at all. It's pretty sweet. So another version of Night Train. This one on RCA Victor, $9. But so it's always nice to find stuff like that. And we're almost at the end. We're getting towards the end of the 78s in this stack, and then we're going to get to the LPs I found at that sale. This one's a reissue. The original was 1927. I couldn't find a value on this reissue. It's Smokehouse Blues, Jelly Roll Morton's, the Red Hot Peppers. So it was originally in 1927, so it would have been on a non-electrically recorded record. And of course, this would be an electrically recorded reissue. Steamboat Stomp, Jelly Roll Morton's, Red Hot Peppers is the other side. And it's British Rhythm Society. I have no idea what this is, but I know what it is, but it's a reissue. Not sure if there's any value. I'm guessing this was reissued sometime in the late 40s, early 50s. But the original record that is not this, I believe the original was on Victor, was from 1927. I did look it up. This one's 1948. It's Jump Blues. Couldn't find a value on it, but it's so nice, I had to bring it to you. Everything I do is wrong on specialty. And check out this early specialty label. And the hop, skip, and jump on the other side. There was another early specialty label, R&B, but it was broken, so I didn't get that one, unfortunately. Actually, there was another 8000 series Mercury that I didn't buy because it was broken as well. We got Hank Williams with Fly Trouble. That's the same record we saw earlier, but another copy, roughly the same condition. And that one I listed as, wait, no, this was the next one. This is one, I have a couple of these Hank Williams that were released in 57, so I'm guessing they were released after he passed away. Maybe it was unreleased tracks. I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. Leave Me Alone with the Blues, Hank Williams, and With Tears in My Eyes on the other side. And it said it was released in 1957. There's a guy asking $16 for one. I can't find any sold prices on that one. But according to Discogs, it was released in 57. I believe he passed away, I believe, in 53, if I'm not mistaken. I might be messing that up. I believe it was 53. If not, give or take a year. It was not 57. Another Hank Williams, No One Will Ever Know. This is another one that's Discogs says is from 57. And The Waltz of the Wind. So I know after he died, they just reissued Hank Williams like crazy. I know they did. They kept. Like Hank Williams was obviously always a popular artist. From 1949, this one sells between 4 and 12. Lovesick Blues. And I've found Lovesick Blues before. I think we found it, I think in the last estate sale video we did, there was a Lovesick Blues in there. But I grabbed them because, you know, it's Hank Williams. I like Hank Williams. If I ever need a trade or something, I got a good trade. Bob Wills from 1943, My Confession. This one sells for about $10. That's in nice condition. We got My Confession. And we got on the other side, Whose Heart Are You Breaking Now? That was one of the ones on OK. One of the Bob Wills ones on OK. And here's another one that we found something similar a while ago. This is a Columbia 78. That's a promo copy for radio stations only. And it has a property of KFWB. We found another record that had a property of KFWB, another 78 a while back. That's like a Spanish station now. It was a news station for many years. Before that, it was a rock and roll station, I think in the 60s. But this obviously comes from 1948. Duke Ellington, Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me. There's the promo label. I used to have a Frank Sinatra promo with this label years ago. I don't know what happened to it in Sultry Serenade. But this one sells, the non-promo sells for $15. I couldn't find anybody who had sold one of the promo ones. But always nice to find Duke Ellington. Plus it's a promo. Plus it's got the local history there with the KFWB property of sticker on there. Pretty sure they don't want it back. They said they're like a Spanish language station now. And here's one that broke my heart, but I cleaned it up a bit and it actually did play. But it's not in the best shape. Sells between 25 and 55 on Checker Records. Diddley Daddy by Bo Diddley. With She's Fine, She's Mine on the B-side. And I'm going to try cleaning this a couple more times because the first time I tried to play it, it wouldn't play. Second time, it played better. So who knows what the third and fourth time will bring. But it's cool to find some Bo Diddley on a 78. That's something you come across every single day, that is for sure. Now we're going to get into the records that aren't 78 from that sale. The guy actually put out a box of 40, like with some 45s and other odds and ends while I was standing there, and I grabbed these. This one's a punk rocker. So we go right from the 78s to punk rock. That makes total sense. 1992, it sells between 2 and 6. I was really hoping it would be worth more. It's Sick and Wrong with kind of a... it's on Sub Pop. It's one of those Sub Pop singles. But check out the vinyl. It's like a lime marbled vinyl. I don't know if I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up. It's a lime marbled vinyl. So I thought I always hear those Sub Pop. Some of those Sub Pop singles are worth money, so I grabbed it. But it goes between 2 and 6, so I'm happy. This one's neat. It's 1979. It sells for between $5 and $30. And the original came with a second record. This is a Olivia Newton-John promo picture disc. And you can see they have like a thank you to like the radio stations for playing Olivia Newton-John. And let's see if I can get it out. And it's in this weird plastic that's kind of falling apart. We got another one too coming up, a different artist that's like similar. But it's an Olivia Newton-John picture disc. And it sells between $5 and $30. And I've seen people asking like $15 for ones without the card. And I think nobody seems to have the promo. The promo record was supposed to be played on air, I think, the black promo record. And this was more of like a thank you thing to the program directors. And speaking of that, we got a similar thing. We got, this one sells between $5 and $17, which I would have thought it would sell for more. For 1978, it is Toto, Hold the Line, on a picture disc. And this one, the plastic's coming apart. You can see the back there though. But this one my daughter wants because she likes Toto. Because she wanted me to take her to see Toto. And I took her to see Toto at the Orange County Fair a few years ago. But so why not grab the Toto picture disc? All right, so I'm going to go into the LP records I got from the same sale. The first one we have here is a Frida Payne LP. This one is the Golden Archive series from 1970. Sells between 4 and 16, so a little bit of soul for you. But what makes this one kind of interesting is it's actually a promo copy. It's a disc jockey version, not for sale, that kind of thing. I'll show you the actual label here. MGM special disc jockey record. They crossed out the part that said not for sale, so I'm guessing maybe it got sold through like a record shop or something. Maybe it was like an extra copy. They got, a lot of times they did that with some of the promos. There's no notches in it, but I'm guessing they did that so it wouldn't say not for sale, which unfortunately they did that because nowadays it'd be nice to not have that. Because it's pretty well understood a lot of those promos got sold. We got Glad All Over, the Dave Clark 5. This one's from 64. It sells between 3 and 17. The first version of this, I guess they weren't holding instruments. It was a different picture. But this version sells between 3 and 17 from 1964. And rounding out this sale, we've got Blues by Basie. This one's from 1944. It is a 4-disc set of 78s. Sells between 3 and 28. And they're all in excellent condition. But definitely cool to find some Basie. Okay, so that's going to do it for this week. I actually had some more stuff, but I'll roll it into the next week's video because I've already noticed I've filmed a lot of records today already, and this video is already going to be extremely long. I do have some cool stuff coming up for you next week, more blues, some rockabilly, more 78s, and whatever else I happen to find. I did bring you that killer Northern Soul record. I'm going to do a video on my Northern Soul box at some point when I get some time. So if you like what you see, what you're like, be sure to subscribe because we need some subscribers. And don't forget to keep going out there and look for some records because they are out there and I've proven that. And until next time, I'll be seeing you.